Hey guys, what's up? It's MatchPoint here, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you the Ultimate Operator Guide for Vigil in Rainbow Six Siege. This will be the updated version, and we are going to be discussing all of the important details that you are here for, such as his optimal loadout, his desired role, and his ability. So if you do find this video useful, consider dropping a like on the video. And if there are any topics that you would like me to cover next, or if you do have a specific topic that you are struggling with and would like me to cover it, well, make sure to comment it down below so I know to do them. If you are new around here, welcome, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So let's get right on into it. First of all, we are going to be starting off with Vigil's optimal loadout. Vigil is a 3-speed and 1 armor operator, and for his primary weapons he does have the options of the K1A submachine gun or the Boss G 12.2, which is a shotgun. The K1A submachine gun is going to be superior here, as the Boss G isn't really a feasible weapon to go for, as it does have a slow reload time and it does only have 2 bullets in that magazine. On the other hand, the K1A submachine gun is a fantastic weapon to have, and it really is an asset to Vigil. It has a high fire rate and it can deal plenty of damage. Now moving on to his secondaries, Vigil does have the option of the C75 Auto, which is a machine pistol, or the SMG-12, which is also a machine pistol. These are 2 fantastic secondaries to have, and if you are wondering which one to go for, well, they're both great options. The C75 Auto can be great if you are struggling to learn and master that recoil of the SMG-12. It's got a high rate of fire and will rack up that damage over time. And the SMG-12 on the other hand is going to have slightly more recoil, but again you will have that fast fire rate and you'll be dealing plenty of damage. I would recommend going for the SMG-12 if you can learn that recoil and learn to control it. However, if not, the C75 can make a great alternative for the time being. However, I would advise you to eventually learn that recoil. Now we're going to be moving on to his gadgets, which are the impact grenade and the bulletproof camera. Now we are going to be doing a little bit of a deep dive into this, so we can show you how you should be using them effectively with Vigil. The impact grenades will allow you to rotate swiftly between places as Vigil. Because of Vigil's role, which we will be getting onto right after this and explaining it, it doesn't mean that you should be using these impact grenades on the team site. Instead, you should have anchors using their own utility for this purpose, as your main goal here is to go ahead and fit that role. Now the reason why you're not going to be using them on the site for rotation is because those impact grenades can make for great distractions when you're flanking that enemy team. If you do want to end up tricking the enemy team, you can throw an impact grenade on one wall and head round the different way. Therefore they might be expecting you from one position, however you end up surprising them and catching them off guard and securing that kill because of that distraction. In addition to this, these impact grenades can help you when you get into a tight situation, whether you need to impact grenade a hatch to get out and make a rotation round to a different point. This way you can approach the enemy from a less compromised and a more safer position. Now we are going to be moving on to Vigil's desired roles, which we'll be doing in depth. The main 2 roles that I would classify Vigil as are going to be a roamer and an anchor. First of all, I'm going to be giving you some tips for roaming with Vigil, and then we'll be doing it for anchoring as well, explaining why he fits this purpose. Vigil is going to be a roamer because his ability, the ERC7, is going to primarily suit this purpose. Drones are one of the main counters to roamers, and successful droning can lead to a roamer being taken out early on, whether that is through a roam clear or simply the team pushing through. And Vigil's ability directly counters drone, therefore is going to make him a fantastic roamer, as he can counter this. As a roamer with Vigil, your goal isn't necessarily to always go and frag out and pick up those kills for your team. In fact, it's mainly to go ahead and delay their time and waste their time. Delaying time is just as important as kills now in Siege. While picking up a kill or 2 as a roamer is going to be great, it's not always your main job. Remember, you should stick to delaying that time, and there are many methods in which you can do this. First of all, quite simply, your presence is just enough to go ahead and delay those attackers. Seeing a roamer or knowing that there is a roamer around this area can be very scary to the attackers, and it can put them off from pushing in. The roamer is in its own territory, the attacker is pushing into it, and if the attackers do know you're here, you don't necessarily have to go ahead and peek, as that's what the attackers would want you to do so they can gain that bit of intel and maybe pick you off. However, if they are aware of your presence and you simply don't re-peek again, then they might be frightful to go ahead and push in, and instead they will rotate round to a different position. And right there, you've also gone and delayed a big chunk of their time, as they're not going to be pushing in from their main entry point and having to find a different way through. Another way in which you can delay the attacker's time is simply through holding an angle onto their line of sight. If you're holding down a certain line of sight, then the attackers are not going to want to push through there, as they know as soon as they peek that corner, they're going to have very low chance of taking you out. This is going to delay their time, as either they're not going to be able to push through there, and they will have to work a different way through. Again, you don't have to pick up those kills, simply delaying their time can be very useful for you and your team, as once it gets later on in the round, that time that you've gotten delayed is going to cause them to not know what they're doing with their push, as they haven't got what they need to do, whether this is opening the hatches or whatever, which in turn will lead to panic. Now, following on from this method, but on a larger scale, you can hold down an area in which the enemy team usually will contest. These are practically the points of interest on a map. This may be the 90 corridor on Villa, for example. Any of those 90 corridors are really hot points to hold down, and as well even places like CCTV on Bank, where it's very easy for the enemy to push through there and get onto that first site. Now, like I mentioned before, Vigil's other role could be an anchor. This isn't going to be his most preferred role, but it is an option. If you're wondering why Vigil is an anchor, it's simply because he can deny their intel. Anchors are extremely vulnerable to good droning, and then teams who can relay this information onto people who are playing up top from above vertically, who can then compromise their position. However, Vigil is a counter to droning, and therefore the attackers aren't going to know his position or whereabouts, which is going to make him a deadly anchor to have. With him being a 3-speed operator and a 1 armor operator, it isn't going to be his most desired position. However, like I did mention, it is a good slot. Now, for the final part of the video, we are going to be moving on to Vigil's ability, which is the ERC-7. Vigil's ability is a cloaking device which will remove his position from drones in any camera's view. From a longer distance, Vigil will not be able to be seen no matter what. However, within a closer radius, there will be a pixelated effect surrounding Vigil's position. However, it isn't going to reveal his exact location. This is going to make it very hard for the enemy to drone him out successfully, and like you'll see on the clip on your screen, there is an example of me using this feature to its best ability, simply by using my ability when I hear that attacker go on their drone. What I'm listening out for is that small sound when the attackers flick onto their drones, and therefore I'll activate my ability to counter this. And the way I'll know if that has gone ahead and worked is if it does pop up on the side of my screen saying drone deceived, and there should be a +2 point mark. And as you can see, after a bit of time, the attacker unknowingly jumps in thinking it's clear, only to meet me. This is only one scenario, but there are many others in which you can fool the attackers to your surprise. Now, there actually is a very useful method in which you can use to see if you are being droned out, and this is going to regard the message you receive when you do deceive a drone. Now, when you're holding down a point, or if you are making a rotation through the map, I would highly advise you to go ahead and activate Vigil's ability just for 1 second to go ahead and see if you do have any drones nearby you. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, how am I going to know if there's a drone nearby me? Well, if there is in fact a drone within your radius, when you activate your ability, you will obviously get that message popping up on your screen just to the right. Now, if you're in a fixed position, this can be very useful for it letting you know that you need to move as you're being droned out, or you can decide to stick that position, but just know that you do have attackers coming your way. Overall, this can be extremely handy for gathering some extra intel as Vigil. Another trick that Vigil does have up his sleeve is that he can actually counter Lion. When Lion activates his ability, if Vigil has gone ahead and activated his ability before Lion has set off his scanner, then he will be immune to it. However, this will not work when you do go and activate your own ability during this Lion scan. A final technique for using Vigil's ability effectively is going to be that you're able to tell how far away the drone is to you. If there is a drone nearby you and you activate your ability, if that drone is going to be close to you, then these white and grey bars that will be on the bottom of your screen will be extremely high. Therefore, if the drone is close to you, the bars are going to be very high. And I'm sure you would have guessed by now that if that drone is going to be a lot further away from you, then these white and grey bars and black bars are going to be a lot smaller. This will be something that you will have to look out for, and it can be very useful for gaining more intel as the operator Vigil. Overall, Vigil is a fantastic operator. His loadout is extremely strong, and he also has a great ability which is designed fantastically for roaming. And that is going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you have all enjoyed. If you did or you found this video useful, then make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more tips and tricks like this. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.